Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Performance E Streaming. It's Thursday night, and that means only one thing. It is time for the ANZCAR Cup. Yes, it is the Cup. Yes, it is the playoffs, and we are here live tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I'm, as ever, Mr. Carl Wilkinson. With you joining me up here in the booth, I have Mr. Mark Johansson. Mark, how you going, mate?
Yeah, good mate. Good. Good to see we back on a nice 1.2, 1.5 oval at Vegas, and I do hope you and Matt have stayed away from the casinos today.
Oh, absolutely. We don't get paid enough to go to casinos. Joining us up here as well on the cams and in the background, Mr. Matt Hunter. Matt, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Evening all.
So it is it's coming down to this. We are in the final few races of the season. Only three left for the year. So it's going to be an important run to that final race of the playoffs, and we'll go through the drivers that are contending in a couple of moments. But while we wait, we'll go through the starting grid for tonight and taking pole position. It's Lachlan Urquio for SRM, getting up in front, starting from pole, next to Daniel Hederscheid on his outside. Row number 2 is Phil Otto with Ruben Phelps. Dave Douglas and Maddie Ray make up row number 3. Brenton Henderson, Norman Clark are on our 4th row tonight. It's Stevie Dubb, Brad Fenley on row number 5. Row number 6 is that's right, I missed out Norman Clark there before. Stevie Dubb and Brad Fenley and Andrew Dyson. Shane Bowen, Neil Pearson make up row number 7. Riley Curtis and Derek Jacobs makes up row number 8. And rounding us out tonight, I believe we might have Noddy Tompkins back there on row number 9. So we are getting towards the final race of the season, but the playoffs continue, and we've lost from the playoff field Lachlan Urquio and Norman Clark. So only a few drivers left in it now, who are, of course, Mr. Andrew Dyson, Neil Pearson, Ruben Phelps, Maddie Ray, Dave Douglas, and Jai Schultz, conspicuous with his absence tonight. Unfortunately, not here racing tonight, Jai, so that's going to make it a must-win situation in the next couple of races to get him into that final spot for the playoffs. And that could be it could be a vital one for everybody else out there tonight. But we are here at Las Vegas. We're back on the ovals, as Mr. Mark said. Looking forward to this one. Fairly warm weather out there as we head off into the Nevada desert, of course. And it is 22 degrees air temperature, 28 degree track temperature, and that's going to start to creep up, I'd say. Just gets a little bit warmer as the sun still bakes down on the track. But we're coming up towards turns 3 and 4, and we're about to go live for tonight's race. We are about to start proceedings here and get ready to drop the green flag. As we say, Lachlan Urquio is going to be leading the pack here tonight after the horrors of the Roval. Can he get some face back by winning here in Vegas? He's sure going to try it. Hederscheid is going to try and stop that from happening, though. Green flag is out, and we're about to go green for this round 33 of the ANZCAR Cup. And away we go. I'm going to shut up. Let's enjoy these cars roar away. And it's Lachlan Urquio in the lead. Daniel Hederscheid, Phil Otto, Ruben Phelps. As Ruben Phelps looking to make a move down the inside of Otto into turns 1 and 2 as we are underway here at Vegas, Mark.
Yeah, definitely underway. And as we were saying before we went live to air, Carl, Lachlan is the one probably to watch tonight. As you said, he had a terrible race at the Roval, and he was thereabouts, but unfortunately found the wall and put himself out, so he'll be looking for some redemption tonight. And Daniel Hederscheid behind him in position 2 will be wanting to end the season on a high, with him not being able to make every round this year. So keep an eye on those two. I think that's where the action is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Both drivers made it into the playoffs, of course, but dropped out relatively early for Daniel Hederscheid and Lachlan Oakway losing out the spot the other night. But they're sort of going to be hoping to save a little bit of face and have just a good run here at the end and finish off their season with a victory. They would be very happy to do that indeed. Ruben Phelps sitting back there in third. He is going to be desperately wanting to climb up there and get that win, though. If he can get that win and secure himself a spot in the final set of the series, in the final race of the year, he would be very happy to do that indeed.
Yeah, the other person that's on a move again tonight, we've seen him out of the chase reasonably early, is JCW in fifth place there. So keep an eye on him too, because he'll be looking for a race win at the back end of the season.
Yeah, then Tarikar's having a good run here tonight at Vegas, doing very well. So it's Phil Otto, actually. He's having a nice run up in the number one, putting a bit of pressure on Ruben Phelps. He's just lost that position to Ruben at the start of the race, but he's starting to come back to him now. Although JCW is looking to take advantage of that move. He's got side by side and he's going to try and get past Phil here. But it's nice to see Phil running up towards the front of the field. One of our regular drivers and another driver that we would sorely love to see take a win in this race, and having a good run so far. He's definitely got the pace out here at Vegas.
It definitely has. So the cars we really want to keep an eye on is the 06 of Ruben Phelps, as you said, in third place at the moment. Then the next person that's in danger of dropping out of the playoff is our mate Double D in sixth place, Dave Douglas in the 10 car. And then, of course, Andrew Dyson's made some nice moves, same with Neil Pearson. And Matty Ray is sitting there at the back of the top 10. He definitely want to be moving up to try and secure his spot and pull some points on the 27 car that is not here tonight, as you alluded to.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, it's sort of been reset, so everybody needs to get their sort of wins to get into that final spot for the playoffs now, or get the points to get in there for that final race at Phoenix. So there's going to be a lot of jostling at the moment, and if you can get some extra points on some of those drivers, if you can secure the points ahead of Dyson and Pearson, who are got to be favourites this season, it will be a good run indeed. But having a good run at the moment is Ruben Phelps. He's battling it out with Daniel Hederscheid at the moment. That car is looking relatively quick at this stage of the race, running better as the laps goes on. Ruben is having a nice job down there as they go 3 wide through turns 1 and 2 there. Not side by side, but they were definitely 3 wide there, all trying to take different lines. And that's something that you've got to love about Vegas. It's a place where you can run multi-groups.
Yeah, definitely. We can just see there Lachlan Oakway dropping down to the low line and leaving Daniel Hederscheid on that high line to try and pull his teammate through. But Lachlan isn't quite sure on where he wants to run. He's up and down on that middle lane and that low line. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see where he best suits it by the mid race, I'd say.
Yeah, it's looking like the mid to sort of medium high line is the one to be running on for pace at the moment, because you saw Ruben Phelps, he could not make it past Daniel Hederscheid, so he's going to have to try something else, try and put another attack a little bit in a couple of laps or so, just take a bit of a reset and go back at it. Looking through the field at the moment, two of the people on a move as Dyson and Pearson. They're up 4 and 5 spots at the moment and working their way up through the field nicely. So they're getting their way towards the front after probably a bit of a disappointing qualifying session for themselves. But they will be wanting to work themselves back up towards the front and just securing that top step, which they've done so many times this season.
Yeah, the other person that's made a move and made up another spot is JCW. He's been able to get past Phil Otto and now running in fourth. So he'll definitely be looking to put a spoiler in amongst the playoff boys tonight.
A bit of a fly in the ointment, and that's kind of what these drivers want to do to sort of they want to try and get the best positions they can in this race, and it is just pure racing for them now. There's not really championship implications for them, whereas the playoff drivers, they need to finish ahead of the other playoff drivers or get that victory. So it's a bit more of a strategic game for them. They're probably going to take a few less risks in this race as well. So probably going to be driving a little bit more cautiously. So that gives some other drivers a little bit of an opportunity to punish them and force them down a spot.
Yeah, and Dave Douglas is running right down on that low line. He's someone that normally runs mid-track, but he's been able to make that low line work and get past Brendan Henderson and Phil Otto.
There's contact up the front as Urquio gets really loose out the corner, makes contact with Hedderscheid. Is he going to save it? No, he's not. He doesn't bring out a caution flag, but that was a long, long out of control moment for Urquio. And that started just coming out of turn number 2. Back end just got a little bit loose on the car. He went down and collected Hedderscheid and then could not get that car back in control. Collected Hedderscheid for a second time. Daniel Hedderscheid doing a great job of saving that car. But Urquio, that's going to drop him right down the order. That's going to ruin his tyres as well. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him pulling it in to pit lane. Absolute wild ride there for the 42. Very well done for him to not cause a caution and not cause a bigger wreck there, because that could have been a disastrous one at the front of the field.
Yeah, definitely. Wouldn't want to see that too many times. But all the guys there have done really well to get around that.
So that promotes his teammate Ruben Phelps up into the lead now, as well. Both Daniel Hedderscheid and Lachlan Urquio sort of moved down the order. Hedderscheid's done a great job of keeping position. You saw him make contact with Lockie, and it was looking pretty dire there. He's managed to get his boot back in it though, and he's sort of kept some good spots because there was a bit of a check-up behind as people were expecting a big wreck there. And it's broken the field up a little bit and cut the momentum of a few cars, but just shows that, about this part of the run, the cars are getting a little bit unwieldy. The rear tyres are starting to get hot and worn down, and the car's starting to get a little bit less predictable.
Yeah, we've seen this year a lot, Carl, around lap 15 to 20, that those rear tyres really start to go off, especially with the heat that we've got here today. I think it was up in the 80s, mid-80s. So nice and hot out on track, and I definitely want to be one of those black things out there today.
JCW just had a little bit of a moment as well, just going through turn number 4. The back end got a little bit squirrely on him, and that's given Hedderscheid the chance to get a run, as well as Dave Douglas down the inside. He goes in the casting couch entry, the number 10, moving up nice and quick. They get side by side through turn number 2, and hold position. There's always a little bit of contact down further in the pack as Shane Bowen, I think, just had a little bit of contact, but we'll keep our eyes on the front. That's all worked its way out nicely. But it is Dave Douglas and JCW now.
Yeah, I think that last little bit of contact was Shane and Maddie Ray, because it was a nice bright yellow car down there that I seen. So I'll just check on my screen. It looks like Maddie Ray is still going forward and with no damage.
I think it was a similar thing. The car just getting a little bit tail happy on the exit, and seems the drivers that are running that higher line are starting to struggle a little bit as, who's that going
Brendan
off
Henderson.
the track? It's Brendan Henderson.
He now has the new contract for mowing the grass through here.
And again, the back end just steps out on Brenton. So just going through 3 and 4, just that little step out. And the car's not looking as planted as we've seen in previous races, and it's catching a few people out here.
Yeah, I wonder, well, these guys would be trying to hang out and hoping for a caution, because then they can come down pit lane and make those changes. As we've said, we run a type of a hybrid setup here at ANZCAR, where you must start on a set fix setup, and then once you get into the pit lane after completion of lap 1, you can pull in and make some changes to your spring rates and different things. So I'm just wondering how many guys have done some real test runs this week, and will be making some changes.
Yeah, I imagine the rear tyre pressure will be one of the things they're going to be looking at, especially on that right rear tyre. Dropping that a little bit, make it a slightly more drivable car. That could well be an option here, just to give themselves a little bit less heat in there. But there's plenty of little tweaks they can do to get the car feeling a little bit better. And as you said, Mark, I think they're hanging out just for a caution or as long as possible before they even think about those changes.
Yeah, try and or they'll just hang out there, and if they don't get a caution, I would say they'll run the full tank of fuel and then pull in and do their service and make some changes. Because the way these cars are starting to walk about on those rear tyres, I'd say there's going to be quite a few making changes.
Yeah, and when you've got cars that are a bit unpredictable like that, there's a high chance that a caution flag could fly as well. So, yeah, probably worth just hanging out if you can, but probably a big advantage to come if you can pop down the lane and make a couple of tweaks here and there to the car, make it a little bit more drivable. So we'll see how that unfolds as the race goes on. JCW getting caught up a little bit higher. He's been running that slightly higher line, and it's sort of giving him a fairly decent speed on the exit, but he's just struggling a little bit in the mid corner. Meanwhile, Dave Douglas is on a flyer now, moving his way up alongside Daniel Hedderscheid, forcing him up a little bit higher than he's run all race long. Dave is taking that tighter line. He's controlling the car really well. I've seen it a few times where Dave's car has been a little bit loose on the rear. It's been flicking out a little bit. The car's been stepping out on him, but he's able to control it. And, that speaks so much about Dave. He is very good on the dirt, very good at controlling a car that's a little bit tail happy, you got to say.
Yeah, definitely. I do want to do one thing. This man that I'm about to talk about, resides in the United States, and he's the only American driver that we've had come and race with us all seasons. And my hat goes off to him because it's stupid o'clock in the morning over there at the moment, and he's always been able to find his way in and race with us, and that's the 187 of Derek Jacobs.
Yeah, it's good to see him out on track and continuing his campaign. He's had a solid season so far. Nothing overly spectacular, but he's been a solid sort of mid-pack runner, and that's what we love to see. Is people that just love racing. They're not racing for the wins every week, but they just love the racing and carrying it on. And Derek's one of those drivers that's been having a really solid season so far.
Caution!
Caution flag is out.
I completely missed it. Is it Shane?
Shane and Riley Curtis. So let's see what's happened here on the replay. So, Shane's just got up on the wall, so we'll see this now. So Bowen's just got up on the wall, just tagged the wall a little bit. It's bounced him down into Riley. And they've made contact.
There'll be some heavy damage on both those vehicles, and this will be the time now that a lot of guys will jump to pit lane and make some changes.
Yeah, I think the field's going to be relatively happy to see that caution. I think Riley Curtis caught the brunt of that one. He got sent around in a couple of circles and took a fairly hefty whack to the rear as well. So we're going to see everybody coming into pit lane. I don't think anybody is going to stick it out there to do anything other than Noddy Tompkins just to get some laps back after he had a connection issue at the start of the race. So he's going to stick it out there just to get his laps back. But everybody else is coming in, and they're probably going to do some big changes here. So probably all 4 tyres are going to be changed. They're going to fill it up with Go Juice once again, and then get themselves back out on track as Lachlan Urquio has to make the long march down pit lane. But this is good news for Lockie because it gets him back in the race. He lost a lot of time with that incident, and this will get him back into tonight's race. And Lockie is also one of our newest members to the 300 Club, 300th race start in ANZCAR. So we were hoping it would be a good night tonight, and we could mention that in some good circumstances. But the rear stepped out on him after he took pole position and dropped him down the field a little bit. But he is still on the lead lap, and now the field is going to be compressed and he can get back to racing. It's going to be an SRM sandwich with Ruben Phelps at the front of the field, Lockie at the back, as well as Noddy Tompkins, as Daniel Hayshire just does a bit of a late check-up there.
I can tell you, Lockie is still sitting in pit lane. He'd be getting some of that damage done from that spin before. We'll see. Should see him move off. Yep, he's underway now. So he'll beat the field back out, and he'll stay on the lead lap.
I'm surprised there was that much damage because it looked very light, the contact he made, but obviously took a little bit more damage than expected. So that is good that he can get that repaired and hopefully get that car back up to full speed and get it back into the race at full pelt, because it would be nice to see him back up at the front of the field. Driver that had a good pit stop and has worked his way towards the front, to the surprise of nobody, is Mr. Andrew Dyson, the 41 there, up in P2 at the moment. And look, his strong suit is pit lane. He is always quick down pit lane. 38.9 for Dyso through pit lane transition time, one of the fastest cars out there. And he absolutely nails his pit stops, and that's why we see him usually jump a couple of cars in caution flag stops. He's very, very good at getting that car through the lane fast, but also he worked his way up the field from his poor qualifying performance. Neil Pearson in 5th position, second biggest gainer of the night. He's up 9 spots. So DPR are starting to claim their way towards the front of the field, and now they've adjusted the car. I am sure it's going to be more to their liking.
Yeah, and also Stevie Dubb from DPR, he's now in the top 10. So that's all 3 cars for them in the top 10, and 2 of the SRM cars in the top 10, with Lockie and Brendan just outside.
Stevie Dubb pulling it into pit lane for a top-up of gas here. That tells me that he feels like he can get possibly towards the end of this race with a bit of saving. So I wonder if Stevie Dubb's got something up his sleeve for this one. We'll find out.
That's unusual because we normally see Steve and Dyson on the same strategy, but tonight Stevie's the man with the alternate strategy tonight.
Trying something different. So maybe he's just thinking, all right, if I can get to the end without another stop, this could be absolutely perfect for me. So we will see how that one pans out in this race. Of course, it could just give him a couple of extra laps as well to sort of extend his stint too, which can sometimes be fortuitous. So we will see how that one plays out in the latter stages. But that tells me that nobody is... The rest of the field do not think they can get to the end on one tank, because if they thought that they could, then they would have probably been down the lane just to get that little bit of top up. So it'll be interesting to see what strategies are at play here. We've still got 98 laps remaining though, so it's going to be I'm going to be interested to see how this one pans out. Green flag will rise soon as they go to the restart zone. It's going to be Ruben Phelps leading away in the restart zone, and he gets away nicely. Good start there for the low line from Ruben Phelps. Daniel Hedershire is getting a good run as well, getting underneath Dyso already. Into turn 1 they come, side by side for the front runners as we go back to green flag racing here at Las Vegas. Lap 33 of race 33 of the ANZCAR season, and we are racing in Vegas, baby.
Yeah, is anyone willing to take a gamble and name a winner yet?
Oh, that sounds like you want to gamble, Mark. I think you should just give me $50 now. Just save the gambling.
I'm still going to stick with my pre-start selection. I still think that 42 of Lachlan Urquio can get back up. Ooh, and that was JCW into the wall.
Dave Douglas joining him up there as well. There's a little bit of paint from the number 10 chipped onto the wall there. Daniel Hedershire even clipping the wall as well. So both Natari cars giving that wall a little bit of a rub there in the opening stages. So maybe they've tweaked it a little bit, that it's not going to be it's going to take a couple of laps for that car to fully switch on, and then it will be absolutely running right. That tells me that it's just that they've tweaked the pressures a little bit and they caught them by surprise.
It's amazing what one or two PSI will do to a tyre, and how long it does to actually take to come back up to race temperature and pressure. And we've seen everyone down pit lane that time take a set of boogies.
Look at this, Mark. There is a big gap forming at the front. Ruben Phelps is going absolutely hammer and tong at the moment. He is full flying Kiwi mode. Same as Daniel Hederscheid. 2 flying Kiwis up the front of the field, absolutely pulling away from the rest. Rest of the pack, are they just trying to save some fuel here? Are they just going into conservation mode? Because they're definitely not pushing as hard as they can.
No, they're definitely not. And the best lap so far for the race has been Ruben with a 1:30.1. As I say that, Daniel Hederscheid's just elapsed that with a 30.154. So these two at the front definitely ain't mucking around.
Yeah, they're going for it at the moment. I think JCW set a slightly faster time a little bit earlier in the race with a 30.127. But they are going flat out at the moment, whereas the rest of the field just seem to be a little bit cautious. And I'm going to be interested to see what Stevie Dub does. There's contact! Shane Bowen, I think, making contact with Brad Fenley as they're just coming out the corner. And I think Brad's just had a little bit of a wiggle there. And just made contact with Shane, who's just come up. I'll go with Shane's just come up a little bit on Brad Fenley there. And just caught him off guard. And heavy contact for the Aussie beer car, as well as the Cobalt Racing entry. And that is going to be a painful one. And I think that's taken Brad out of the race, unfortunately. So looked like Shane just scrubbed up the track and really, really hammered Brad Fenley. And that's a shame. Brad's been having some really good races recently, but that is his night over and done with. As we continue on here, it's Ruben Phelps in the lead with Daniel Hederscheid just behind him as we see the number 20 in pit lane in for a lengthy old repair. And big shame to see Brad getting that hit there. Neil Pearson is starting to run up the field now. He's managed to get himself up into 3rd position. Dyson dropping back a little bit. And again, I wonder if it's a race of, I don't want to lead, I want to fuel save here for the rest of these cars. They're not letting the front two run away completely, but they're not pushing as hard as they could. Stevie Dub is one to watch out for because he came in for that little splash and dash, and he's sort of happy at the back of the queue at the moment, but he's definitely going to have a nice amount of fuel on board.
Yeah, definitely. Mate, I've been now to duck down and have a quick word with Brad, and he's going to join us up here in the booth in just a few minutes. But 16 minutes worth of damage on that contact with the wall, so he's definitely taken the car behind the wall and probably calling it a night.
That is a big shame there for Brad, and saying before, he's had some good runs this season and been having some good races, but that's going to be a painful old repair job indeed, as Phil Otto just drops down a couple of spots as he's racing it hard with Dave Douglas, JCW, and now Lachlan Urquio coming up fast behind him as well. Urquio absolutely siving his way through the field, making sure to recover from that mistake he made earlier in the race.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we've got Brad Fenley bashing at the door. We might let him into the booth and have a quick word with him. Hey, Brad, welcome to the booth, mate.
Yeah, g'day, lads. How we all doing?
Yeah, better than you, unfortunately, tonight.
That's right.
Mate, just talk us through that accident. Yeah, it looked like Shane may have just washed up a little bit on you and caught you out.
Yeah, my version would be I thought I held a pretty smooth line coming off, and I was sort of heading to the wall, and Yeah, I thought Shane came up on me. When I look at the replay, I don't know. I think it's a bit of each way. I look like I might have been a tiny bit loose coming off and come down a bit, and we're just that close that got together, unfortunately. And I certainly, yeah, the car's toast. It's like another quarter of an hour or something, so I'll be chucking her in for the night.
Yeah, unfortunately, mate. Mate, you've had some pretty reasonable results, midfield this year. The driving's improved out of sight this year. Um, uh, for yourself, do you think you've had a successful season um, with the uh, with the Aussie B car?
The, Mate, with the Thursday night with ANZCAR, I just like to get in and participate where I'm pretty confident. There's a few tracks I feel like I'm getting in people's road, so I just stay out of it. But especially if it was a chase race, yeah, there's races where you just know that if you are a bit slow, that you're not going to get in anyone's road and hold them up. Other races, yeah, certainly getting in there and giving it a go. Yeah, just trying to run clean, but obviously running with ANZCAR and Weekend Warriors, it's just getting that experience and driving around all these guys. For myself, you just can't help but learn and get a bit better. So it's yeah, you just got to participate and have a go.
Yeah, look, mate, I know I speak for the three of us up here tonight. We've enjoyed seeing you run around. Got a couple of more races to go, and we'll see you back for those races to try and have another go at it at those three.
Yeah, mate, I'll certainly have another crack for sure.
All right, mate. Well, hard luck tonight, and we all thank you for racing every week with us when you can, and hopefully we can see you a bit better position next week.
Just
No worries.
before we let you go, Brad, I just want to ask quickly on the fuel condition for the cars, because we're trying to sort of guesstimate up here what people are trying to decide. We saw Stevie Dubs run into the lane for a quick splash and dash. What was your sort of plans in that sort of stint after the caution?
Yeah, well, the tyres for me were a bit of an unknown until I got to the caution, and I was definitely trying to take it a bit easier through 3 and 4, just to try and keep my tyres up there. But I was, dropping back. I think I got to about 8 seconds back before that first stop. But I think a full tank looked like you could do 45 or 46 laps for me, but you probably got to take a bit off for the guys that are running a bit quicker. Strategy-wise, yeah, I was hoping it would just be a 2-stopper, because I thought with my tyre condition, I did feel like I was drawing a bit back, and when that caution happened, that was when I was meant to sort of start gaining a bit, I guess. So I was a bit disappointed it went to caution, but yeah, I don't know if I answered your question there.
No, absolutely, Brad. Thank you for that. Useful information for me up here in the booth, mate. Thanks for that one.
Right, no worries, Carl. Thanks, guys, and thanks for what you all do. Awesome, mate.
No worries, mate. You're welcome back anytime with comments like that. And as I said, mate, thanks for joining us here in the booth tonight, and hopefully we can talk to you in the next couple of weeks on better in a better condition.
I do too, guys. I really appreciate it. Cheers.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for your time tonight.
Well, we've got some heavy racing going on in the group as Brenton Henderson is really racing hard. He managed to work his way up towards the front of the field, but now he's getting swallowed a little bit. Daniel Heddershide and Andrew Dyson as they go 3 wide. Brenton Henderson just holds the car. He makes a slight tap to the wall, and that's given Matty Ray a run here. Really heavy, really fast, furious racing going on. And this is for 4th position at the moment. They're racing like it's lap. Well, it's like it's the last lap at Daytona, Mark. It is absolutely fully on out there.
Yeah, but we've come to know these guys through the playoff, and they really do race hard. And we can see there 3 wide and very clean. Unfortunate for Brendan, he just touched that wall. But we've got that group of 6 cars there side by side, and there's some pretty aggro drivers in there at times too. but all behaving themselves, all nose to tail and side by side. So some great racing happening. But as we watch this guys, we see Ruben Phelps jump out to a 2.4 second lead. So he's definitely buzzed out, and the question has been answered, that these guys look like they may have to stop another 2 times yet.
Yeah, I wonder if Stevie Dub is trying to get it just for that, just to try and get one less stop, or just try and figure something out, because it's going to be tricky. So it's we're expecting them to come down the lane probably in about 20 laps time. So we'll do some working out once we start seeing some green flag stops happening. But it's going to be interesting to see what people have done to work that one through. Meanwhile, Ruben Phelps, he's still checked out. He's about 2.7 ahead of the rest of the field. He's having a pretty Max Verstappen time out there, all on his own. So we'll keep our eyes on the rest of the field, because they are racing hard at the moment still, down in 4th position. Dave Douglas has just sort of secured himself in 3rd at the moment, and he's got a nice gap to the cars behind him at the moment, as they are still racing hard, as Henderson gets a little bit loose coming out of the exit there. He saves the car and only loses a couple of positions. Very nicely done to keep control of that car, because I thought that was going down into the wall. Although his tyres are probably going to be a little bit hot after that one, and you can see the cars swallowing them up as JCW and Matty Ray go down the front tri-oval section. Norman Clark thinking about taking a dip as well as they come into turns 1 and 2. Absolute brilliant stuff here.
Yeah, definitely. But just go back to the leader, Ruben Phelps. He's going to be in danger of doing a pit stop by himself with no one to help. And we've seen what can happen after you come down for a service. As we see, I think it's
Phil Otto, I think.
No, I think it was
Riley Curtis.
Riley,
it's Riley Curtis, yeah.
Yep. In for a service. But back to what I was saying, is Ruben is going to be in trouble if he comes down pit lane by himself. Neil Pearson and Dave Douglas, I would say we will see them in pit lane together. There's not that big a gap between them. But then the rest of the field, I would say, would join, and these guys at the front here will be at risk of dropping way down in the field.
The cars drop back a little bit that are running in that group, though they've been battling with each other. They're not really gaining too much on the rest of the cars. Dave Douglas has got a couple of seconds over Dyson at the moment, and Dyson's not really closing the gap. So I think it's more about the tyre life, the tyre wear, and the running at the moment. So it's not too advantageous to have a pack of cars here tonight, Mark.
Yeah, definitely. But we can see Matty Ray definitely doing the right thing, staying out of trouble, and getting up as high as he can. So he is sitting in
5th position.
Fifth position, because everyone in front of him is in the playoffs too. So he should be safe with some good points. Lachlan Erclio now back up into 10th. So if we get a big field next week and we see Jai Schultz back, he's definitely going to have to be in a must-win position or top 3 at least.
Yeah, it's gonna be a must-win situation for Jai Schultz after missing this round, unfortunately. He's really in an unenviable spot, but he's got 2 races to get a victory in to get him through into the final round at Phoenix. Matty Ray at the moment, as you said, he's sort of last of the playoff runners at the moment. So he's sort of sitting in that spot. Dyson in the wall.
Sorry, Carl. We don't often see Dyson do that. Probably just misread how high he was on the track.
Well, Dyson does love to run the wall of death. And contact between Dyson and Matty Ray! That is a huge accident! Huge accident on the tri-oval section of the race, and that is complications there for the playoffs for 2 drivers, as just that bit of contact, and I'm just trying to see what happened there. Looks like Dyson's just got down a little bit and made contact with him, and bang, a huge mistake there from Andrew Dyson, and that has really hurt Maddie Ray in the SRM machine, the 83, as well as himself. Well, this is championship implications, Mark, isn't it? There's two drivers in the playoffs.
Most certainly is. You can see there Dyson heavy into the wall.
So they come through 3 and 4, and just coming onto the tri-oval section, Dyson goes up, and I wonder if he's just had a little slip or what's happened there, because he's just gone down into the back of Maddie Ray. And look, not something we see from either of those drivers. Both of them are very good at keeping the car in a good position and not making mistakes. Very rare we see incidents from both of those drivers. But it just looks like Dyson's just gone down, made contact with Maddie Ray, and bang, huge impact there. And that's going to be huge damage for both those cars. They're going to need a lot of repairs done for sure. And, well, it's going to come to who can get out of pit lane first out of those two cars. So who finishes ahead of who?
Yeah. Oh, that's a bad mistake there by Dyson. I think Matty will get back out before Dyson because we see Dyson's right front facing at the wrong angle.
Depends how much engine damage is done to the SRM car. I would say that there is a fair amount. Maddie Ray had to tow it into pit lane as well. So it just depends if Dyson's engine damage is not too bad, he might be able to get back out there before Maddie Ray. It's going to be a very, very tough night, though, and a tough playoff now for those two cars. That is big, big news. And, well, that's really shaken things up. Everybody down pit lane, everybody coming in for a service as well, quick top-up of fuel, quick repair, fresh tyres. So that's really shaken things up here tonight. And, well, we're at lap 66, 64 remaining, so we're just over halfway. And unfortunately for Ruben Phelps, that's absolutely lost him his nice lead that he had before that caution. He had a very safe lead over Neil Pearson, and that's all drifted away now because of this incident.
Yeah, and Pearson is normally one that gets a pretty good start too. So we'll have to wait and see where Phelps decides to restart the race, whether it's early or late. Might just duck over and see if I can get some information off Maddie Ray.
Okie dokie. Well, we'll let you head on over and give you a flak jacket as well, just heading over to that pit lane. I think you're going to need it. And you're usually very calm, Maddie Ray, but I imagine he is absolutely fuming about that one. That was a big mistake there from Dyson behind. And, as I say, not something we're used to seeing from those two cars. So just an unusual situation there. But that's going to have big implications to the rest of this championship because Ruben Phelps leads this race. Neil Pearson's second. Dave Douglas is first. All three of those drivers looking to get themselves into the final race at Phoenix in this season to become champion of 2023. And, well, it's really, really changed things up here. And, of course, it's changed things for the race. They're not going to be able to make it to the end from here, but it's taken away any of the little strategies that were going on. It will be a pretty simple one that stopped to the end if we go green from here on out.
All right, just a quick one, guys. Both Maddie Ray and Dyson looks like they will be out of the race. They both have mechanical black flags. And I haven't been able to get a word with Matty because I think he's pretty angry, as you can imagine. But I believe, from what the boys are telling me down there in the pit lane, he's blown his motor.
Yeah, it looked like there was heavy front end damage on that car, so it's going to be a real shame for that one. But I guess it could be worse. With Jai Schultz missing tonight's race, that at least puts them on a slightly more even playing field and still gives them the opportunity in the next couple of races, of course. Well, we are about to go back to green flag racing here. We'll keep an eye on those two playoff cars and see if they can get them resurrected and back out onto track. And we'll keep you up to date with all of that news. Currently, we have 13 cars on track. Riley Curtis is sitting at the back of the pack, but it's going to be Phelps and Pearson leading us away here on lap 68 of 130 as we're about to go back to racing at Las Vegas. And well, the odds are never in your favor in Vegas. The house always wins. Who is going to survive? We will find out in just 62 laps time. Into the restart zone they come, and Ruben Phelps gets a nice restart on the low line. That gives Dave Douglas a bit of a run on Neil Pearson now. Can he take advantage of it? Get himself ahead of Pearson here, coming down towards turn one. Pearson just slides himself in front of Dave Douglas. JCW up on the high side, looking to work his way up the field. Ruben Phelps getting away like a scolded dog at the moment, and he's going to want to try and build up that lead once more.
Yeah, that SRM car of Phelps just seems to have something special tonight. He's been able to really pull something out of the bag with that vehicle.
Yeah, he's got some really good pace out there tonight. And, well, you've got to say the team's had some good pace as well. All four of those cars, all of those cars looking good out there so far. But Ruben's really taking advantage of it as we get back to this race. Dave Douglas really pushing hard at the moment, trying to make the moves on Neil Pearson, getting down the inside of him now, and he's going to look and try and get himself up into P2. Can he do it? Not quite yet, but he's got a good run so far. He's keeping himself just behind Ruben as well. Can he make the move on Pearson? Pearson's not going to make it easy for him. He's going to try for the high run now. Pearson try and get a better run off the corner, try and get himself ahead of Dave. Will Dave be able to get the speed up from that low line? He are still keeping it side by side, but Pearson's just got in front, drops it down and slices off the nose, gets himself ahead of Douglas and secures himself in second for now.
Good racing here. We can see that mid pack through from Douglas through to, I think it's Otto, really starting to close up on each other. So that's going to be the interesting little battle in the next few laps.
Absolutely, and up the front, Pearson is putting Phelps under pressure. I think Neil saw Ruben running away last stint. He does not want that to happen this time, so he's going to keep him under pressure now for this run to the next set of stops. Will Dave Douglas be able to hold on there in third position and put Pearson under pressure? If he can, that could be Ruben's, that could be Ruben Phelps' greatest help there. Daniel Hederscheid even. He'll be trying to put Pearson under pressure and see what he can do, just to nibble away there and try and get that P2 spot. But Neil Pearson trying for that low run. Ruben Phelps drops down across his nose. They are really racing hard here up the front. And these two know how important it is. They want to get through to the final run at Phoenix. And they know a victory is going to be really crucial for that.
Yeah, whoever can take a victory here tonight's got one foot pretty much there. So just it's going to get interesting. I'd say that the gloves will come off the last 15 laps, and we'll see these guys really probably leaning on each other a little bit, as we've seen towards the end. There's no malice in it. They're just trying to outfox the other car, so the other driver. So let's see how they go. But Pearson is definitely getting that high line to work now.
Yeah, he seems very happy up high at the moment, and he's getting it to run very well. Will it remain that way through the stint, or will he start to burn his tyres a little bit doing that? We'll find out, because he is being sort of kept up there at the moment, and if Ruben can sort of keep him in that position, he might just force Pearson into a slight error, or just force him just to get the tyres a little bit hotter than he needs. But Pearson has managed to get himself in front there now of Phelps. So really trying all the different strategies in the big book of racing at the moment, these guys, and they are doing well. Lachlan Urquio is doing great recovery as well. He's up into fourth position now, and he is flying his way towards the front of the field. Remember, he took pole position, so he is very happy here in Vegas. He's got a lot of speed, but he just needs to get that working now in his favour after that little mistake earlier in the race. And he's back up there with Daniel Hederscheid. Those two made contact, remember, after Lockie had a little bit of a moment of getting loose. And they dropped down the order a little bit, lost momentum, but now they're right back up at the front. Great to see these recoveries coming.
Carla, as expected, Matty Ray has pulled that car behind the fence and called it a night. So unlucky for that SRM driver of Matthew Raymond in the 83 Chevrolet.
Yeah, big shame to see that happen. He had some good pace here tonight, as we saw. So that's a real shame to see him out of this race early. But it's not over, remember. He still has 2 more races to get himself in that final spot. So it's the fat lady hasn't yet sung. So it's getting there, but she's not yet hit that high note. So he could still find himself in the playoffs. With a little bit of luck coming his way.
Yeah. Also, though, Carl, he's got to be happy as the team owner. He's got Ruben Phelps, Lachlan Urquio, and we now have Brenda Henderson up in the 6th place. So the other 3 cars from SRM in the top 10. So although he's had some bad luck, he's got to be happy with the performance of his team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of almost wrapping around his season that we saw at the start of the year. He had some terrible luck and just got sort of caught in incidents not of his own making, unfortunately. But it's been a solid rest of the season. That mid-year worked out very well for Matty Ray, and his consistency once again paying off. But unfortunately, a little bit of bad luck has once again struck that car, and it is out tonight. Meanwhile, Lachlan Urquio going down the inside here of Daniel Hederscheid, working his way up into 3rd position. Absolutely flying the 42 tonight.
Yeah, definitely on the move. And as we said, you know, we've been talking about him this second half of the season. He's had some great results, but he's also had some terrible luck.
Yeah, it's sort of been a bit up and down, but up the front, 2 drivers that are having a very solid year and keeping themselves out of the issues. Neil Pearson and Ruben Phelps really racing hard here, side by side, back on the trial they come. And Ruben's coming back at Neil now in this stage of the stint. And got to say, the SRM team look to have absolutely nailed the tweaks here tonight. They are doing very well out there, and it seems to be paying off for them ever since the pit stops. Those cars have been absolutely flying. So they are really running well at the moment, and that could put a little bit of fear into Neil Pearson, who is out there with Stevie Dubb still, of course, but they've lost one of the cars. They've lost Andrew Dyson, so that's a little bit less information for them, while SRM still has 3 cars to gather information with. So they can try a couple of tweaks here and there that might work or might not work, whereas Hederscheid just getting a little bit slidey out the exit of 2, whereas DPR are sort of left with not that much information, although I believe Dyson is just getting it back out onto the track, although he is 18 laps down.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, Carl, it looks like that car's been repaired enough to get him back out on the track. So we can just see him coming now onto the main racing service.
Yeah, he'll be out there just trying to pick up any pieces that drop now, and just try and see what he can do. As Lockie Urquio gets a big slap going through 3 and 4. It's continuing as he gets across the triangle, but he just about keeps the car again. Those rear tyres looking like they've heated up on Urquio once again, and he's starting to struggle as we come through for lap 44. Lap 86, 44 laps remaining. So we're still going to see a pit stop here. Will it be under green flag conditions? That's going to be the next question.
Yeah, the way these guys are racing, as long as they can control their little oopses, I think we'll stay green till the end, and we'll definitely see some green flag service time.
We'll see how they all go in green flag stops, as Phelps still running that low line, and he's working it really well at the moment, and just keeping Pearson just sort of uncomfortably in the lead. And Pearson's not able to sort of run the ideal line at the moment. He's having to sort of run a slightly compromised line as Ruben Phelps is monstering his way through and just shuffling Pearson up the track a little bit so he can't get the car for a lower turn in, and that's going to slightly affect him as this run goes on. And we'll see how that plays out as, Hedershide gets a bit of a slide there. No, Phelps does. Phelps gets a huge slide there. He saves it. He saves it, but he drops position. He's going to drop another position to Dave Douglas now. He's going to fly through. And I'd say watch out for Douglas here, because he's been sitting back there, watching on with glee, rubbing his hands together, going, yep, you boys fight. You boys wreck your tyres. I'm just going to sit here and pick up all the pieces.
We've seen Dave tonight. Just take his time, stay thereabouts.
Pearson and Douglas both get really wild there. They go into the wall, and so does Urquio. Urquio and Phelps make contact with each other. The front runners all made contact there. Everybody had a little accident there coming out of turn 2, but they all kept the car running in the right position. So that was a dramatic moment from everybody. And watch this on replay here. And through the mid-corner, Pearson just gets a little bit slidey. And so does Douglas. It's almost like everybody has the same issue. Hedershide as well. And you saw just at the top of the screen, Lockie Urquio having that big slide as well. So Pearson gets up in the wall. Boof. Douglas does as well. And they all just had a little moment going through that corner. But they all managed to hold it. So that was... well, that was a bit of a dramatic couple of moments as well. It just shows that this car is very much on a knife edge tonight.
Yeah, everyone just seems once they start getting in that 20-lap range, those tyres really start to drop off and
we might want to jump back to live pictures because Pearson is struggling once again. He's had a big slide coming off of 4, and that's given Hedershide and Douglas a run. Sorry, Mark, but yeah, I agree with the tyres. Once they get to that 20-lap mark, they become a bit perilous, don't they?
Yeah, probably a little bit more than what we've seen in the past too, throughout the season. So, be interesting who's going to keep these tyres under their car the best. Although they haven't backed off in speed at all.
It's the thing about racing cars, isn't it, Mark? You sort of go, oh, this car's terrible to drive. It's gonna kill me. It's terrible. I can't control it, and you still keep it up to the same speed. But yeah, it's very much on a knife edge tonight, and it looks really, really temperamental. It's so close every lap to having a bit of a moment, and it's sort of a little bit like the Xfinity car last night at Chicagoland, as they're free wide for a couple of moments. Dave Douglas in the middle. Ruben Phelps works his way up. Big chop by Phelps going down and makes his move up into second place. They are really going for it. There is no love lost between any of these drivers.
That was a get out of my road, I'm coming down.
A forceful moment there. But yeah, the Xfinity car last night was very, very tricky to drive, and was really close to having an accident almost every lap. We saw Barry Neal absolutely monstering that car and taking a fantastic victory. Look forward to seeing a write-up on that one, because it was very, very neat racing from Barry Neal last night. But it was really that thing of it favoured the drivers that can absolutely nail a car that's not quite balanced. And Neil Pearson is looking to master it at the moment, although Ruben Phelps is still trying to catch up to him. We saw Phelps getting a good lead in that first stint. So what will he manage here as JCW pulls it into pit lane? And I think this is going to cause a ripple for the rest of the field to come down pit lane, because they're not going to want to have a huge undercut here.
Definitely not. And the other good thing about last night, Carl, was I was happy to see the Godfather back out there having a run and having a break from his studies.
Yeah, he was out on track as well as Mr. Matt Hunter as well. It was a night where we saw many old faces back on track. Nice to see the drivers out there and having a bit of a run. As up the front, Phelps had a big run there and just he's taking that high line as Pearson gets all slidey taking that low line. And that low line is not working now as Phelps is just monstering his way up towards the back of Pearson. The car looking far more settled up on the high line. Pearson having to slide it through the low line, really struggling with that car at the moment, and Gap is just being monstered away. It looks like Phelps's car is absolutely running to perfection at the moment. As Pearson, big slide job up on the high line, drifting it round, just makes it out of the corner. That was awesome stuff there.
Now, just looking in that second group, person that we haven't really spoken to sitting in sixth tonight is Norman Clark, our gentleman racer. So it's good to see him up there in that top 10 tonight.
Battling it out side by side with Brenton Henderson at the moment. And look, this could be a track that suits Norman's driving style because everybody else is struggling with their tyres. Norman will have saved a little bit of extra rubber, and he's absolutely flying at the moment. He's actually a good couple of tenths faster than the leaders. So in this long run, Norman Clark's cars come alive.
And we've seen Norman in the past just sit back and let things unfold, and he's always thereabouts at the end. So it's good to see Norman having a good end rear of the season.
Absolutely. Driver that lost position in the playoffs, but having a really good solid run here tonight. He's going to hope to continue that. As up the front, Pearson's managed to get himself back in the lead over Phelps as Neil makes a bit of contact with the wall again. No gap between Heddershide and Douglas as well. So these guys really racing hard. All these drivers got into the playoffs. Only 3 of them remain though, and that's Douglas, Phelps, and Pearson. But Daniel Heddershide just going, look, if I was still in here, I would still be causing you guys trouble. He is absolutely making himself well known here. As we've got a dribble of cars coming in pit lane. Lachlan Urquio's been through the lane. Riley Curtis, Shane Bowen have been in as well. So we're starting to see pit stops happening as Daniel Heddershide pulls it in from the top group. And this is going to be the thing that will really make the rest of these cars start to think. Who is going to try and stick it out for a late caution? Who is going to come in early? Who's going to take advantage of the undercut? That's going to be the big question.
I haven't heard anyone call yet out of these top 3 that they come in the pit lane. So I would dare say they will come down pit lane together.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to want to give away when they're pitting. I get the feeling that they're going to try and do something here, but I think they're going to stick it out for as long as possible. It looks like they really want to stick it out just in case that caution comes. They don't want to be caught out by it. But that could be a perfect opportunity for the rest of the field to take advantage. So they've still got a few laps of fuel left in the car. They could do about 44 laps on a tank, about 38 laps into this run. So they can stick it out a little bit longer. Derek Jacobs, Norman Clark in the lane, and Stevie Dubb as well. So this could be really useful for those guys that want to try and take advantage of it.
Pearson's in next lap. Just heard Pearson call it, so he'll be in pit lane this time by.
Okie dokie. Let's see who sticks it out. And Phelps and Douglas stick it out. Pearson in the lane. How much further will the rest of these cars go? Will their gamble pay off? We're in Vegas, the home of betting. And, Phelps and Douglas at the moment betting on a better run to the flag with some slightly fresher tyres maybe, or possibly a late caution. Let's see when they decide to pull it into the lane. We will find out very shortly. And it sounds like Phelps and Douglas are pulling into the lane now. They're putting it in and trying to slow it down. Not the easiest pit lane here in Vegas, but they get it slowed down. Into the lane they come. where will they come out in regards to everybody else? Well, at the moment, Joshua Carroll-Walden is leading the race. He came in nice and early, remember, so he took advantage of that big undercut. And he has pulled a nice lead. He's about 2.6 ahead of Daniel Hederscheid at the moment. In second, Lachlan Urquio sits in third position. Then it's Neil Pearson, Riley Curtis, Norman Clark, Brenton Henderson. Where does Ruben Phelps and Dave Douglas come out?
I can
Coming out
update
the
you.
lane now. And it's going to be close between them and Neil Pearson. Ruben Phelps has just got to get up to speed now. Neil Pearson coming round the corner. He's going to jump ahead here. Ruben Phelps pulls it up. He's got ahead of Pearson, but he needs to get it up to speed. Neil Pearson's going to come storming by. But Phelps has managed to get out pretty much side by side with Neil Pearson. That was nicely done. Ruben Phelps has got the fresher tyres now, only by about 2 laps, but he has got a slight tyre advantage here over Pearson. And we've seen Phelps having some good speed.
Yeah, very quick pit stops for both Phelps and Douglas, and they both took full set of tyres. So all 4 tyres went onto the car.
Yeah, everybody opting for the 4 sets of tyres throughout the field, looking at those times, and a little splash of fuel as well, just to get them to the very end. Lachlan Urquio currently sits in third position as he goes past Andrew Dyson, who is out there lapping a good 20 laps down, unfortunately, due to that accident where he went and made contact with Maddie Ray. And he will be feeling dirty about that one, I am sure. But at the moment, it's Joshua Carroll-Walden in the lead. He has got a nice gap over Daniel Hederscheid, who is closing in quickly. Lachlan Urquio, the fastest car out there at the moment, at 29.897. So could Lockie be pulling a surprise here tonight? He's on tyres that have done about 4 more laps than those behind him. So he's going to be hoping he can build up a gap in these next 20 laps or so. And you can see just behind the orange car, then the red, and then the black and white of Ruben Phelps and Neil Pearson. They are closing in quickly. They're coming up to speed now. Their tyres have started to get in their temperature range, and they are going to be closing this gap at a vast rate of knots. So this is, what we were talking about, the drivers in the playoffs, they're going to want to take a little bit of a less risk than the drivers out there who are racing for themselves. And JCW at the moment is taking advantage of that by leading. Same with Daniel Hederscheid. Those two came in fairly early for their stops, and Lockie Urquio as well. So those 3 drivers really taking advantage of the playoff drivers not wanting to take as many risks, and they've got themselves track position at the moment. And well, they could find themselves for a good position here tonight in this race at Las Vegas.
Yeah, definitely. And the big thing to take note of is that our first driver is that's still in the playoffs is in 4th. So then the last person that's still running is Dyson down in 14th. So looks like Dyson and Matty Ray will be finishing just a few points apart in this race. So they are going to be the ones to watch next week for the real battle, and along with Josh Schultz if he makes it next week.
Yeah, it's almost like a must-win situation for all 3 of those cars now. The only good news for Matty Ray, I guess, is the fact that Dyson won't be finishing any more than 1 place ahead of him, because we've only got 17 laps remaining, and Derek Jacobs is only a 1 lap down. So there's no way that Dyson can get any further up the field than 14th position.
But back up front, we can see Pearson and Phelps now closing in on the top 3. And
Daniel Hederscheid.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we've had a change for the lead with Daniel Hederscheid getting past JCW.
That's it. So those tyres started falling off for JCW now. He's done 18 laps on them, and that is almost 10 more than Neil Pearson behind. So the tyre difference is really starting to come in. Question is Pearson makes contact with the wall. Again, just that rub on the wall. We've seen that a few times tonight. Looks like he got away with it relatively unscathed. So that could have been much, much worse for Pearson, who's got Phelps right on his rear. But look at Urquio sailing past JCW now, moving himself up into second. And, well, could see here if Lockie can start closing that gap a little bit, he could be in for a podium position here tonight if he can get past Daniel Hedderscheid. Got to say, it's looking good for Pearson and Ruben Phelps, though, as they are siving their way up now into these positions on those fresher tyres. As Lachlan jumps down in front of Pearson, trying to defend the spot a little bit. He's not got as much tyre life as those behind him, but he is going to try his damnedest to keep Pearson behind a little bit here, to try and get this race in the bag, but not much he can do. They could just sail their way past him at the moment, which they do. Just able to outdrive him. They've just got that much better tyre life on them and just drive their way through, siving their way through. Neil Pearson and Ruben Phelps up into second and third position. We've got 14 laps remaining. There is a 1.1 second gap to Daniel Hedderscheid, who has only done a couple of extra laps on those tyres. He's about 3 laps older tyres than Pearson, so it's not as big a difference as those cars that they've passed so far. So this could be an opportunity for him tonight if he can maintain this gap over a fast-charging Neil Pearson. What he wants to see in his mirror is Ruben Phelps starting to attack Pearson, trying to get himself ahead.
It seems like this last stint, Pearson's car is a fraction better than Phelps's car. So we can see the shadows starting to form across turns 1 and 2. So maybe that might be having a little bit of an effect on the tyres. Yeah, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's it. Temperature has gone down here. Air temperature 22, track temperature 24 degrees, so that's going to help them out an enormous amount. As we see Stevie Dubb here battling out with Riley Curtis, Norman Clark just ahead of them, and this is the battle for 8th, 9th and 10th position. So a really good race from these guys, and they are going to be happy battling it out there. They all race each other very often, and always a race to see who could be the better in this group. And so far it's Norman just sitting there and having a nice run. But yeah, we saw last time SRM seemed to have a better long run pace. DPR had a better short run pace. So I wonder in these last 10 laps if we're going to see Ruben start to close the gap here on Pearson. But they've both got to close the gap on the Nataria, Daniel Hedderscheid. He's still got 0.7 of a lead, so they're not closing in fast enough at the moment. And I'm sure they're going to be feeling like they need to go a little bit quicker to close that gap in these last 9 or so laps, Mark.
Yeah, definitely need to get a move on. But we can see now that they've passed Urquio and the others. They have closed it up. But 10 laps to go. Is it going to be enough laps left for them to get to Hedderscheid, and then secondly to pass him?
I'm just watching Pearson's car, and it just looks a little bit slidey again. He's just had a couple of moments where that car has not been connected like it was in the earlier stages, and just get the feeling that it's starting to get a little bit squirrely here in this final run to the flag. As you see the back end just stepping out again, coming through turn 2 there. Pearson doing a fantastic job of holding the car, but it's when you've got a car like that, all it takes is one little mistake and you can find yourself in a whole heap of trouble.
Yeah, definitely. We now see the gap down under. Let's just put back out to 700ths of a second. So it's a little bit backwards and forwards at the moment.
Just a little bit further back, Dave Douglas is closing in on Urquio and looking to move himself up into 4th position. It's been a solid run from Dave tonight, and this is exactly what he will like to see. It's been a good race for him, and he's sort of kept himself 3rd of those drivers in the playoffs. So it'll be a nice little points haul for him tonight, and that could be a nice thing to have heading into the next 2 races before we get to Phoenix. So I'm sure he'll be pretty happy with his run tonight. even happier if he was ahead of everybody else, but it's not going too poorly for him at the moment. Brenton Henderson having a really good run as well, down in 7th position. He's trying to close the gap on JCW, seeing what he can do and seeing if he can gain another spot. And it's going to be a pretty tasty battle, I think, in the last 6 laps between these guys, because Norman Clark is flying along at the moment, and he's sort of catching up to these guys as well. So Norman Clark sort of on slightly fresher tyres too.
Oh,
so
sorry, big hit into the wall for Pearson. A lot heavier, and this has allowed Phelps to stick his nose just inside. So it's on here for the last 6 laps.
Well, we're going to keep our eyes on the 2 playoff drivers, I think, because it sounds like it started just to fall off a bit for Pearson, and Phelps is putting him under all kinds of pressure.
And this is the spot where he can't, out of 2, he just, that car is not settled through turn 2.
Every time we see it, it's just sliding on the exit of the corners, and he's just not, doesn't seem to have the mid-corner grip that Phelps has.
You can see here, Phelps comes down low. He's going to try and make the move. He set this up really well. Pearson's been able to just keep his nose in. Again, touches the wall.
That's going to lose him a little bit of momentum. It probably wasn't hard enough to cause damage, but it's going to lose him momentum, and that's exactly what Phelps wants to see as they go side by side once more. And Pearson, just holding that high line, is going to get a good run here. He chops Ruben Phelps' nose off right down there, saying, look, I'm going to hold this position. They are going to start to get very, very racy here.
Fortunately for Ruben, that's just pushed him back a little bit. And we can see there that there's tyre smoke coming off Pearson's car through the mid-turn. Like we were saying, that car just is not settled mid-turn like Phelps' car is, Carl.
No, absolutely. And as these two are battling it out, Daniel Hedershire is going to be sitting there going, yeah, that's cool. Thanks, guys. You're making this easy for me now. As Ruben Phelps is looking to make another move here on Pearson, and he's getting good run through the corner. Does Pearson get a little bit loose on the exit? No, he doesn't. So it's going to be a drag race now. Phelps has got some good speed heading into 3 and 4. He's got the nose just a tiny bit ahead. Pearson's going to get a better run off the corner, though, with that high line. If he can keep that car in momentum, he's going to be good here. Will he chop it down in front of Phelps' nose? He doesn't have enough space there. White flag is out. Final lap here. Final run to the flag. Daniel Hedershire in the lead, but we're going to keep our eyes on 2nd place, I think, because that is where the action's going to be. Sorry, Daniel, we would love to see you in the front for the moment, but I think this fight is going to be really on. But Neil Pearson's managed to pull it ahead here of Phelps, and Daniel Hedershire is going to take the win. Will Neil Pearson come home second? It looks like it very much. Daniel Hedershire takes the win here in Las Vegas. Neil Pearson comes home second with Ruben Phelps in 3rd position. Barely anything separating those 2 cars as they come to the line. Dave Douglas comes home 4th. 5th for Lachlan Urquio. Great recovery drive from him tonight. 6th is Norman Clark. A solid run for the 0-9 tonight. Brenton Henderson going to be dead happy with 7th. JCW comes home 8th. Stevie Williams comes home in 9th position, and Riley Curtis rounds out our top 10. But it is all here for Daniel Hedershire tonight. He got knocked out of the playoffs early, but he takes a victory here tonight to get towards the end of his season. He is going to be delighted with that one, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. We see some nice burnout here from Hedershire. Are we going to see those rear tyres go bang?
He is giving it a good effort at the moment. Which is going to go bang first, the engine or the tyres? That is the big question. Absolutely burning the tyres out and enjoying this one. Daniel Hedershire takes victory here tonight. So let's run through the finishing results one more time. It's Daniel Hedershire taking the win ahead of Neil Pearson in 2nd. Ruben Phelps comes home 3rd. Dave Douglas in fourth. The three playoff drivers in second, third, and fourth there. Lachlan Oakweir comes home fifth with Norman Clark sixth. Brenton Henderson seventh, eighth for Joshua Carroll Walden. Stevie Dubb comes home ninth, and Riley Curtis rounding out our top 10. Riley's going to be happy with that after that bit of impact. He sort of had a little bit of a moment earlier in the race. We saw Phil Otto comes home 11th. A solid run from Phil tonight. I'm sure he's going to be a little bit disappointed with that one after his qualifying. 12th position for Shane Bowen tonight. A bit of a tough one for Shane tonight, but he managed to come home 12th. Derek Jacobs, 13th position. Unlucky for some, but Derek Jacobs, our resident American, comes home in 13th tonight. Andrew Dyson will be in 14th spot after making contact with the poor Maddie Ray in 15th position, unfortunately for him. Noddy Tompkins in 16th, and Brad Fenley out early doors, unfortunately, in 17th.
Yeah, definitely. And again tonight, Carl, some great racing throughout the field. But we're off to Homestead next week, a little bit different. So it's going to test the drivers there next week in Miami.
Absolutely, a track that brings a few different challenges, and I'm sure a few people will be looking to take advantage of that, heading off to the second to last playoff race. It's going to be exciting stuff, so we hope you can all join us there for that one, of course. But after tonight's action, well, we are very happy with how this has run, and I'm sure a man that's going to be pretty happy is our third place finisher, Ruben Phelps, who we'll grab up for SRM and bring him up to the booth for his post-race interviews. Ruben Phelps, welcome to the booth, mate. Sorry, there, caught you mid-sentence as you're chatting down in the green room. Congratulations on P3 here tonight at Las Vegas.
Yeah, the one that got away, to be honest.
It was a bit. That caution coming out, that must have been heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I think I built up to like a 3-second lead, and then the caution came out. But just of how the car was, I think I could have easily I should have stayed there. But once Pearson got hard, it's sort of, and you get in that draft, it's really, really hard to, it's obviously hard to sort of get that run and use it to your advantage and get it back, because obviously you get a lot of heat in the front tires, especially being behind somebody. But what a race, honestly.
Well, you two were battling it out there for that final 40 or so laps, wasn't it? It was absolutely full on after that last caution. It was very much on between you two. We saw moves happening almost every other lap between you two, just trying to work out who's strong and who's weak in certain spots. But just got you at the end there, Neil.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's the car was working a mint on both lanes. It was just like the outside line is probably the preferred lane to sort of get the run for the pass. But just because obviously I went up the top, I lost all that ground a little bit. And if we're both just about as equal as, like, I think both of our cars were pretty equal, so it was really hard to actually get an advantage or get that slingshot. I think I know Pearson smacked the wall a few times, it got loose a few times, but as soon as that happened, it was just when my car sort of just didn't want to, work to get that momentum to stick. But I mean, heck with it. When you get a race like that, I don't mind finishing, but finishing behind him. But when there's more at stake, you want to finish ahead of your competitors.
You do indeed. Well, it's not the worst case scenario tonight, because, well, no playoff drivers got the victory here tonight. So it does even things up a little bit heading off to Homestead, Miami next time out. How are you feeling going to Homestead, and are you feeling confident for that round, and hopefully trying to get yourself up on the top step?
Yeah, no, Homestead should be a piece of cake, but anything's possible. Anything can go wrong at any point, so you got to keep optimistic.
You do indeed, Mark.
I was just going to say, now there's a man full of confidence going to Homestead, and everyone is very close in the second to last race, and it's not a problem.
Oh, I've always liked Homestead, so I mean, I just run my own race these days, but today was a completely different me than, I mean, I race hard, but that was extra hard than I usually drive, so but no, I'm
yeah,
happy with it.
yeah, no, definitely a hard drive there tonight, Ruben.
And it was fun.
Absolutely great to see. Look, congratulations on tonight. Congratulations or commiserations, but it was a really good run nonetheless. Well done for third place, Ruben. Before I let you go, though, the usual thing, love the shout outs to the team, the sponsors, people in general. Go for it, mate.
I gotta thank you guys for putting the broadcasts on. Of course, ANZCAR. Of course, SRM Australia. I'll do them first this time. Matty Ray, of course, unfortunately got involved with Dyson. That was an interesting crash, but anyway. But of course, Mobile Brake and Mechanical Repairs, Murphy's Modded 10, Moondog, Made of Auckland, and our two charities of Australia Alopecia and, of course, TS Tourette's Australia.
Always great, Ruben. Thank you so much, mate. Congratulations again tonight. Fingers crossed it all goes well for Homestead, for you and the team.
Yeah, cheers.
Ruben Phelps there for SRM coming home in third place tonight. Up next is our second place finisher for DPR. It is the red flavoured car. It is the 62 of Mr. Neil Pearson. Neil, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on a very hard fought P2 here tonight at Vegas.
Thank you very much, guys.
It didn't look easy out there tonight for you.
No, it was not. I didn't quite nail the adjustments. Car was fast, but I definitely didn't have the pace that Ruben had, and Dan, he called the strategy down on point. So you got to give it to him. They raced the scenario, and he got it. So.
Well, what's the old saying? Fast is loose and loose is fast. And your car looked pretty loose out there tonight in the rear.
Yeah, it was. I was trying to tighten it up as the runs went on, but yeah, I just didn't quite get there. And that last run, I really pushed hard, and I think I fried it up a bit too much. By the time I got to about 7 to 8, 9 tenths behind Dan, and I think the dirty air took over, and I just couldn't get it to turn then. So then it wasn't working as well on the exit, and then you start getting frustrated, and then. So then I just started focusing on keeping in front of Ruben because I know he had a very fast car. So
absolutely, the SRM cars looked very quick on the longer runs tonight, but you sort of had some, the DPR cars weren't looking slow, but as I said, it just looked a little bit twitchy at the rear tonight, and you just nailed holding onto the car every lap, it seemed.
Yeah. I mean, loose is fast, and I mean, I don't mind a loose race car. I mean, that was probably a little bit too loose. But I mean, it's like the old cars, the Gen 6s, you could really drive them loose and on the right rear a bit, where these ones you can't as much. But it is what it is.
Right, absolutely. And well, coming home second tonight, I mean, obviously you'd like to come home one place higher, but you did manage to beat all of your rivals in the playoffs. So that must be a good feeling tonight, not taking the win, but none of your other competitors did either.
That's it. So, the 4 spots for the final 4, they're still up for grabs, and I'm probably I'm the closest out of all of us, as you're implying. So I knew I had a feeling that if I gave Ruben inside of me, I think he would have caught Dan. So I was doing everything I could just to keep him behind, A, for the points, and B, not to give him that win, so he's in.
Not to have that safety net. Like it's an important thing.
It is. It really is.
Absolutely crucial stuff. Look, congratulations tonight, Neil. Well done indeed on P2 and finishing at the front of the playoff field at least. Before I let you go, though, the usual thing, the love, the shout outs to people, teams, everyone else out there. Go for it, mate.
Yeah, first of all, Dan for the win, and Ruben for third. It was really good driving. You guys for the broadcast, ANZCAR for the league, simrigs.com, Southwell Listen Hoist, Spenmax Mechanical, NP Designs for the killer paint jobs. They really are the best. And Steve, he brought it home well. He reckons he ran out of fuel across the line, so he did well too. I'm not sure where he finished though.
9th. So
right.
yeah.
It was good. It was good. He improved his spot, so you can't complain. And yeah, bad luck to Daiso, unfortunately.
Yeah, uncharacteristic little mistake by the looks of it, but not the worst night for the team. And look, NP Designs, fantastic job. Whoever does those paints really deserves a pat on the back.
And I'll do that later. Don't you worry.
Thanks, Neil. Have a great night, mate, and I'm sure we'll catch you back in the booth soon. Good luck. Oh, before I let you go, off to Homestead next week. How are you feeling heading off to that one?
Probably a bit more confident than I was here. Homestead's a bit more tricky. This track's sort of like really flat out the whole time. So Homestead will hopefully be a little bit more driver dependent and should be fine.
Well, we look forward to seeing you out there. Good luck for next time out. We'll see you back in the booth, sure, in no time. Hopefully, it will be for that first place.
Hopefully, dudes. You guys have a wonderful night.
Thank you so much, Neil Pearson, there for DPR taking the win tonight. And finally, for Natari, man who is back on the top step of the podium, it's Daniel Heddershide. Daniel, welcome back to the booth, mate. Congratulations on the win here at Las Vegas.
Yeah, cheers. It's been a while, but a bit too long if you ask me, but here I am, made it finally.
Absolutely. Look, commiserations for not making it through to this stage of the playoffs, but congratulations on a fantastic victory here.
Yeah, pretty hard season to end like that. I mean, it was a pretty badly timed penalty on my behalf, but whatever. I think I would have had the pace to still be in contention next week and probably in the final too, but shit happens and we'll move on.
Absolutely.
Take the win.
Sometimes things don't work out how we want them to. But, you know, look, taking a victory here tonight is not a bad little commiseration prize. It's been a solid season so far. And look, tonight you had absolutely great pace out there. It looked like both cars were working well. We saw JCW as well having some good speed.
Yeah, they weren't too bad actually. I don't think I quite had Ruben and Neil's pace. I think we were pretty similar. The tyre wear didn't seem too dramatic to me. It was more whether you're overheating the tyres or not. So that's why I sort of threw the early gamble, went for the stop, and hope like hell that those two would battle like hell for the chase win. And yeah, it paid off. They done that, and it all worked out well.
Absolutely. I was about to say, you must have been delighted when you looked in your rearview mirror and saw them side by side with each other lap after lap.
Yeah, I was getting pretty nervous. Neil was catching me pretty fast, and I was doing the maths thinking he's going to catch me pretty quick and pass me before the end. But then he sort of got within 7/10 and couldn't really catch me, and then the gap started going the other way, and I sort of got a bit more hope. And then Ruben's there racing him, and started thinking, oh, this is actually possible. And yeah, by the last few laps, I was sort of just cruising around, watching their battle and behind.
Always a nice position to be in, to watch the others race while you're happily sitting up in front. It was a night where it looked like it almost wasn't going to happen. We saw that bit of a moment for Lachlan Urquio, and he had a big save. And unfortunately, you got caught in it, but it looked like you also had a very fantastic save and didn't lose too many positions from it.
Yeah, it was a bit of a wild moment, wasn't it? I was pretty nervous. But yeah, we both are. I seen him save it at one point, but I don't know where he ended up. But yeah, managed to keep it on track, only lose a couple positions, and come through pretty fast on the next restart. So yeah, it worked off pretty good.
Absolutely. Look, a really well-driven race tonight, mate. Congratulations again on victory here at Vegas. We're heading off to Homestead next time. Are you looking to try and make it harder for those playoff drivers next time out? How are you feeling heading off to Homestead?
Yeah, I'll probably show up just to be a pain in the ass to them.
It's what we like to see.
Interesting, yeah. We'll see what happens. I go all right there. I wouldn't say it's one of my top tracks, but show up for a bit of fun. See what happens. It's been a long season, so may as well finish it off with some good results.
Absolutely. Look, we look forward to seeing you back at Homestead. Hopefully it will be back up here in the booth at the end of the race. But before then, we'll let you do the love, the shout-outs to teams, to general people. Go for it, mate. You've deserved it tonight.
Yeah, shout out to Natari for all the hard work all season. We've probably had quite the up and down season, all the guys really. So here we are, but Growth Odyssey, Fully Flawed, and Turbo Alpha Japan kept us going all along the way, kept practices up and stuff like that, so it's good. And you guys whacking on that broadcast every weekend, all the competitors still showing up, and tonight was some great racing, some of the best of the season for me, so yeah, it's been wicked.
Always good to hear. Congratulations, Daniel. Well done indeed, and we'll see you back in the booth in no time, mate.
Hopefully. See you.
Daniel Heddershide there for Natari, taking the victory here tonight. A really popular win and well-deserved win there, Mark.
Yeah, definitely. Just tops off his season, and look, I wouldn't count him out from next week either to put another thorn in the sides of the playoff guys.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the playoff continues. We saw drama tonight with, well, we've got to say one of the favourites, Andrew Dyson, of course, and Mr. Maddie Ray. So that is going to be interesting to see how they bounce back at Homestead and see what they can do. Of course, Jai Schultz missing tonight's race. That's going to be painful for him, but can he bounce back at Homestead? We will find out very, very shortly indeed. Next week, same place, same time here at Performance E Streaming. But we are back with you on Sunday night for the Australasian Supercar E Series. It is back in action now. We are back in racing, a couple of weeks off, and we will be as rusty as heck, I am sure, for that one, as we've had a couple of weeks just to relax and unwind. But we'll be heading off to Auto Club Speedway for the Australasian Supercar E Series on Sunday night. So we hope you can join us there for that one. And the Weekend Warriors are back in action on Saturday night, Mark.
Yeah, we're at Atlanta on Saturday night, getting very close to the end of the season. But I was just going to say, these guys over in the V8s are going to come back with all different paint schemes just to try and muck us up, Carl.
Oh, as always, they love to make our lives harder. It's always fun for that to have happen. We look forward to seeing you there, of course, and we look forward to seeing you back on broadcast as well. Look, from all of us here at Performance E-Stream, myself, Carl Wilkinson, with you, of course, Mr. Mike Johansson and Matt Hunter, we're going to wish you a good night, and we will see you back on action on Sunday night. Thank you all.